Recording. All right, my name is Steve Sherman. I probably know most of the people who are watching this out here. You bumped into me at all the conventions. I'm going to talk today about a project I've got going with a group called the Vietnam Veterans for Factual History. These are a bunch of people, some of them from the SF Association, including Jim McElroy, who we've gotten together probably since 2004 when we had a little convention in Boston. And we've been putting together some publications on general history. Now, up to that point, my time was putting out SF history. And as you know, I've got a lot of books and CDs that I put out on various subjects within the Special Forces community. What I'm showing you here is a project that I just started. I've taken everything that I've done and VVFH has done and put it all on one computer. That computer, however, is a very expensive product. We're only going to make 50 of them, and they're going to cost $2,500 a piece. We've got two people who've already bought it to be field tested, to field test the operation. Looks like that. It's really a good computer for this purpose. Just the right size. Anyway, all of this stuff is on that computer. All the stuff here I'm going to show you today is on that computer, unless I note otherwise. But the things that the VVFH has been doing is we've put together a series of magazines. 3 of the 8 magazines are finished. 5 of the 8 magazines are finished. And we got 3 more to do. I'll come back and talk about it. But they are all free and may be downloaded at this location. Paper copies, which are very nice, but in very limited supply, and they cost money. And it's for the big donors and the authors. The last 3 I hope we'll get to during the course of this year, but I'm not really sure that we're going to finish those 3. All right. The other project we've done is starting in 2013, we put out a series of books on Vietnam, 63, 64, 65, and so on, down through 75, and then a catch-all book. I have 2 more books to finish, this one here and this one here. 1 article apiece is missing. When I get those articles, they go to the printer, and that project of 14 books is going to be done. The books are all available on Amazon, but we'll have it as a convention special. We do have it as a convention special that you can buy all 20 books, all 14 books for $200. It'll be $250 at the end of the year. And it will also include a CD-ROM version, or not CD-ROM, a thumb drive version of all these books, which is very good because you can search any word in all those books at the same time. And it's very good for research. The books are not histories of the year, but a collection of articles about that year and of things that are probably misstated or need to be explored in more depth, or other reasons I selected them to go in here. Obviously, because I was involved with Special Forces, there's a lot of Special Forces elements in each year of the books that we have. The next project we have that's also on that disc is on general history of the Vietnam War. And I've gone 1 step too far. Oh, here we go. And there are a number of primary source documents that have been used less than they should have been used. And that's because they're found basically in Xerox copies. And the Xerox copies are hard to read. They're bad copies. You know what it was like to take a look at a document in the archives from Vietnam. They were typed to begin with, and the copy machines weren't all that good either. If I could get to it, I would go back to yeah, they're all for, or all of the MACV command histories are on the CD-ROM. There we go. Okay, close that. Up. Up. Okay, all the command histories are on the CD-ROM over here, from 64 to 75 to 72, 73, and then there are 8 quarterly reports by the DAO office. Some of them have sort of never seen the light of day. We discovered them, and they make up a really good primary history of the Vietnam War, covering all kinds of topics. I can tell you, you know, what portions of the railway was used in Vietnam and what year. I was asked the other day if I knew anything about something called Company D packets. And apparently in 1967, they added a D company to every line battalion. And the guy asked me if I knew anything about it. I said no. But I did a search, and the CD-ROM gives you the capability, the electronic version gives you the capability of searching anything, anywhere. So I put in the word packets, and then in the 1967 volume, there are 2 instances where they use the word packets. And one of them, sure enough, was about a page describing exactly what this guy was looking for and the authority for what happened and the code names involved. So it's really a tremendous resource. And when you think of all the books that have been written about Vietnam, most of which have had little or no access to this information, it's incredible that, well, it's not incredible. It's a fact that the stuff that's being put out, for the most part, doesn't have good information in it because they didn't go looking for it. Also on this hard disk is my map collection. I'm not going to go into it here, but there are maps down to 1/50,000 of all Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and North Vietnam on that CD-ROM, and then they move up to 1/250, 1/500, 1/1,000,000. So it's kind of a neat resource to have, all in one place. But as I said, it's very expensive, but there are parts of this that will be or are less expensive. This is free for the PDF downloads. This one will cost $200 for the 16 books. This one probably will cost $500 for the 28 books. And this costs a lot of money by the individual CD-ROMs that are available. I'll go into one other thing here because I just think it's kind of interesting. Jim complains about it a lot, but that's Jim. We decided that we needed to have some means of communicating to a younger generation. So we commissioned and directed by telling what we wanted in it, how we wanted it done. We commissioned a comic book where a girl goes to Arlington, sees this guy at the cemetery where her grandfather is buried, and then talks to him and tells him what little she knew about the Vietnam War and how badly she was mistaught. And he corrects her, and then they continue a dialogue and discussion of the Vietnam War. and that continues. That's part one of the magazine will have about 60 pages of comic in it. 30 pages is this part. The second part will be, she'll invite him to a classroom and he'll talk to the class and have interaction with the class about the war. So I think that's going to be a very good vehicle for talking to a group of people who are, you know, not readers and not knowing very much. And as I said, my grandchildren I tested it out with, who read very little, really got into this. They thought it was pretty good. So that's that project. And as I said, all the magazines are free downloads from VVFHmag.org. And it's a little complicated. The guy that wrote that website for me went off and died on me. So I know how to put new magazines up there, but I can't change the process of signing in. So anyway, that's what I've got here. Anybody have any questions, or if you don't have questions, you know, most everybody knows where to find me most of the time, and I'll be happy to try to help out with any projects you're doing, and anything you need to know about the projects that I'm doing. Questions? If not, I will stop the recording.